In today's video, I'll give you an in-depth look at American Liberty, one of the latest cruise ships from American Cruise Lines. I'll show you some of the highlights of my cruise through Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina, and show you a few things that I noticed that were different about this ship compared to other ships in the American Cruise Lines fleet. I'll give you a tour of some of the best parts of the ship and try to explain why seniors like me like American Cruise Lines so much. This is American Liberty, one of the latest ships from American Cruise Lines. She just began service in 2024. She is one of 19 cruise ships in the fleet for American Cruise Lines, a company specializing in all-inclusive small ship cruising to unique destinations within the USA on American-made ships with American crew members. American Liberty is one of 4 unique ships in the fleet that feature a catamaran-style bow. These ships have the shallowest draft in the fleet, which means they can sail in rivers and waterways that aren't very deep. Let me introduce myself. I'm Jim Zim, and I'm a licensed commercial drone pilot. I shot all the video you're seeing here today. None of this is stock footage or supplied by ACL. I was on board for what they call the Southeast Sea Islands itinerary through Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. And for the entire 7 days, we never once went out into the open waters of the Atlantic. We sailed in what's known as the Intracoastal Waterway, which is basically a series of small rivers that connect the cities we visited, and that meant very smooth sailing. I flew into Jacksonville and boarded the ship on Amelia Island on the northeast coast of Florida. And let me just quickly show you a few highlights of the places we visited during the week. The day our ship was docked in Brunswick, Georgia, I took an excursion over to nearby St. Simon's Island, a beautiful place even in the winter months. Notice that empty swimming pool there. I bet in the summer months that pool is bustling with activity. You've just got to love that gorgeous lighthouse on St. Simon's Island. And this definitely wasn't the last lighthouse I would see during the week. Another thing they seem to love in this part of the country is cable-stayed bridges. This is the Sidney Lanier Bridge in Brunswick, one of 3 beautiful cable-stayed bridges we'd see this week. Now here we are the next day, cruising up the Savannah River on the way to the big city of Savannah, Georgia. City Hall in Savannah has this gorgeous golden dome on top of it, and in this shot, as American Liberty was approaching where we would dock, you can see in the background that beautiful golden dome of City Hall. Very similar to what we saw in Brunswick, Savannah has a beautiful cable-stayed bridge crossing the Savannah River. It's called the Talmadge Memorial Bridge, named after Eugene Talmadge, who served 2 terms as governor of Georgia. Savannah is the oldest city in Georgia, very historic, dating back to 1733. Some of the old cobblestone streets have been preserved. It's really interesting to take a tour of the historic district and to look at all the interesting architecture of the buildings. But Savannah is also a thriving contemporary city with all the benefits of city life. Everything from Starbucks to your choice of many different types of restaurants. I had hoped to find a good barbecue joint at some point during this trip, and I found exactly that in downtown Savannah. I had some wonderful barbecued brisket at this restaurant downtown. From Savannah, our ship sailed along the Intracoastal Waterway, eventually making our way to the island of Hilton Head, South Carolina. We visited a very picturesque part of the island known as Harbor Town, which featured the second beautiful lighthouse of the week. From my drone, I was able to take a look at the viewing area at the top of the lighthouse, and then, as I pulled the drone back, we could see our ship in the background, and we get a pretty great look at the view. While we're looking at this beautiful aerial video, I want to encourage you to use the services of my travel agent, Caitlin Gallagher. A good travel agent is worth her weight in gold, and since I've found one, I want to let you know about her. Whether you're interested in booking a small ship with American Cruise Lines, or one of the big mega cruise ships from Princess, Royal Caribbean, or whatever, you'd be smart to get Caitlin working for you. Her services and expertise won't cost you anything at all. Her fees are paid for by the cruise lines. So, when you're ready to book your next cruise, visit Caitlin's website, or send her an email, or give her a call to get the ball rolling. Here's a great view of the sunrise at our next destination, Port Royal, South Carolina. From Port Royal, I took an excursion over to the nearby town of Beaufort. It dates back to 1711, making it the second oldest city in South Carolina. The antebellum architecture here is really interesting to see, especially if you do so from the comfort of a horse-drawn carriage, like I did. A lot of movies have been shot on location here in Beaufort, including Forrest Gump, The Big Chill, The Prince of Tides, and many others. And the final destination of our cruise was the big city of Charleston, South Carolina, the most populous city in the state. I enjoyed walking through the Charleston City Market, which dates back to 1807. And Charleston gave us the third beautiful cable-stayed bridge of the week, the Arthur Ravenel Jr. Bridge over the Cooper River. Now that I've covered where this cruise took me, let's focus on the ship itself. I really enjoy cruising on small cruise ships like this. It's only 4 stories tall. Deck 1 is where you'll find the ship's restaurant. There are no passenger cabins on Deck 1. Most of the cabins are on Decks 2 and 3, with the exception of the largest cabins, the suites, which are on Deck 4. And also on Deck 4, there's a very nice sun deck with some super comfortable patio furniture with thick cushions. A very comfortable place to sit and enjoy the views on a warm, sunny day. Of course, sometimes you want to be outside, but not in the sun. There's a very well-placed metal roof over a portion of the outdoor space on Deck 4. It provides some nice shady seating while still having the views and the fresh air. If you've sailed on some of ACL's other coastal cats, the shaded seating area is set up a little differently than on the sister ships. I like what they've done with it here on American Liberty a lot. Another thing that's different than the other ACL ships I've sailed on is this observation area on Deck 2 forward. This is known as the chart room because at these seats, which have great views of what's ahead of the ship, you'll find a full set of navigational charts with the same types of information that the captain uses to navigate the ship. So just to be clear, this room is not the pilot house where the captain navigates the ship. That's one floor above this. But this, the chart room, is like a passenger-friendly version of the pilot house. On this video display on the wall here, you can look at the exact same electronic navigation aid that the captain looks at. On either side of the chart room, there are doors that lead outside to a wonderful viewing area with tables and chairs. On a warm, sunny day, you're going to want to sit out here and enjoy an unobstructed view of what's ahead of the ship. The biggest change from the way things are on the other ships in the fleet is that on American Liberty, the Chesapeake Lounge has been redesigned and relocated to Deck 1. This is the lounge where cocktail hour happens each evening. This is also where many of the ship's social events happen, and where the entertainment happens in the evenings. I love what they've done with the new lounge design on American Liberty. Just outside of the lounge, you'll find 2 restrooms, as well as a self-serve laundry facility. There are 2 washers and 2 dryers, and there's no charge whatsoever to use them. ACL even provides the soap pods and the dryer sheets. Nearby, you'll find the guest services area, a place where you can almost always find one of the ship's management team if you need help with something. Notice the Christmas decorations. My cruise was the week just before Christmas Day. Another great lounge space is the Sky Lounge, located on Deck 3. This is a great place to find a snack, a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, or a soft drink. They do also serve a light breakfast here in the mornings, if you don't want to sit down for a full breakfast in the restaurant downstairs. There are fresh cookies brought here twice a day, and you'll find jigsaw puzzles and games and books to keep you busy. Just behind the Sky Lounge, there's an outdoor patio, which is a nice place to enjoy a drink or a snack while you take in the views of what's behind the ship. This is also where you'll find the Lookout Cafe, offering a casual food menu for lunch in the afternoons if you'd rather not eat lunch down in the main restaurant. Now I'll show you a few of the lesser-known spots on the ship. We'll start with a room known as the Study. This is a cozy little room at the back end of Deck 2, lots of light coming in through the windows. I saw people using it as a place to have a card game. And there's also a computer and a printer back here that you are welcome to use. Right across the hall from the Study, you'll find the fitness center. I used the treadmill daily and sometimes twice daily during my cruise. And one other lesser-known spot on the ship is an outdoor area at the front of the ship on Deck 4. For the folks staying in a suite on Deck 4, this would be a great place to come see what's ahead of the ship. No tour of the ship would be complete without seeing what a typical cabin is like. So this is what most of the cabins on the ship look like. I'm not sure if you can tell from the video, but if you're used to cruising on big ocean cruise ships like Princess, Royal Caribbean, Carnival, when you get on ACL, you're going to notice the cabins are a little larger. On the big cruise ships, you often have a choke point, somewhere in the cabin where the walkway narrows down. But on American Cruise Lines, you typically don't have that. There's 42 inches between the bed and the chair at the desk, and 38 inches between the bed and that chest of drawers. A lot of the big cruise ships I've been on have been much more cramped than that. The bathroom is also nicer than a lot of the cruise ships I've been on. Notice that glass door to the shower, not a shower curtain. And inside the shower, there are 2 shower heads, one up high and a lower one that can go handheld. This chest of drawers provides a ton of storage. Plus, there are drawers in the desk, drawers in each of the nightstands, and lots of storage space in the closet. There's a very nice television with lots of TV channels and free movies. And the room has a surprisingly large number of USB charging ports and AC outlets. And in case of a medical emergency, you can get immediate help by just using this. At first, it might seem like your suitcases are too big to fit under the bed, but pro tip, just open them up and they'll fit just fine. And perhaps the best thing about your cabin, sitting out on your balcony and enjoying the views. So I've given you a pretty good tour of American Liberty. Now I want to talk about what you won't find on board. You won't find a casino or anything else designed to make more money off of you. No art auctions or sales of photographs. No drink packages. Your drinks are included. There's no charge to use the Wi-Fi or the laundry facilities. No hidden fees like port charges or mandatory gratuities. So basically, no nickel and diming, something the other cruise lines always are doing. There are no inside staterooms. Every stateroom has a balcony. And finally, there generally aren't any kids aboard. Now, I don't think it's a hard and fast rule. I suppose you could bring a grandkid aboard if you wanted to, but I've never seen anybody do it. American Cruise Lines is really just a very senior-friendly way to explore the USA. Even if you've got mobility issues, or if your spouse passed away and you're sailing solo. Let's just say I'm 67 years old, and the people I meet on a cruise on American Cruise Lines, these are my people. You should come sail with us. If you're a fan of American Cruise Lines and you've been enjoying this video, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's totally free to subscribe, and the reason you should do this is because this is not going to be my last video about American Cruise Lines. If you subscribe to my channel, YouTube will know to recommend my future ACL videos to you whenever I release a new one. And by the way, this was my 9th cruise with American Cruise Lines. That right there should tell you something. So if you look through some of my older videos on my channel, you'll find some really good videos about other ACL ships and itineraries that I've been on. I'm Jim Sim. Thanks for watching.